This episode is brought to you by Rad Scooter Deli on 6th Street. Craving something delicious in Paso Robles? Rad Scooter Deli on 6th Street has you covered. Enjoy tasty sandwiches, fresh salads, and smoothies like the Banana Nut Blast, my personal favorite. Kick back on the covered patio, sip on a cold beer and wine, and enjoy the easy parking. Order online for pickup or dine-in. And here's a treat. Use promo code PODCAST for $5 off your next order. That's podcast for $5 off your next order. Open daily from 6:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Rad Scooter Deli. Local flavor, fast and fresh. This episode is brought to you by the White Wave Wellness. Choose to live a healthy and fulfilling life. Wellness is more than being free from illness. It is a process of change and growth towards a mentally and physically healthy lifestyle. Reach out to Jennifer Hale to learn more about how this water can change your life. This episode is sponsored by Western Janitor Supply. They have cleaning supplies and equipment for any workplace. Call today at 805-238-2112. They provide an extensive line of chemicals, paper products, and floor equipment. Again, that's Western Janitor Supply, located in downtown Paso Robles. This episode is sponsored by Santos Bros Plumbing. Are you in need of a dependable and effective plumber you can trust? Look no further than Santos Bros Plumbing, your trusted local plumbers in Paso Robles, California. Call them now at 805-360-4679. That's Santos Bros Plumbing. All right, so we're just gonna come in here and start. We're at the Paso Robles podcast again. I'm here with Tristan, who wants to share a story, and you reached out to me on Instagram, and I said, yeah, let's do it. Let's talk. Anybody who wants to be on camera, I'm down to chat with them. So for the audience, for listeners, I'll let you introduce yourself. What do you do, and what story? And we'll kick it off that way.
Yeah. So my name's Tristian Higgins. I'm originally from the high desert, small town called Barstow. Moved to Paso 4 years ago. Had some family things happen. My dad passed away 4 years ago. So my mom manages an RV park up here, and been here for 4 years. So yeah, it's good being here.
Yeah. So I'm putting my phone on silent for do not disturb, so I don't get interruptions here. You do motocross.
Yes.
That's what I saw on your Instagram. And I think the closest thing to motocross I've come across is the Disney movie Motocross.
Yeah,
eight-legged freaks, where like the motocross scene where like going through the dunes or whatever, and then Spider just grabs them as they're doing the jumps.
Yeah. So motocross. Barstow was the perfect town for it. My dad did BMX back in the day. My brothers, they did off-road racing, so the trophy trucks and all that. So been around moto my whole life. I'm pretty much the one in my family that did motocross, and I was getting into supercross. So unfortunately, we had some things that happened, and so it came to a halt. Moved up here. Restarted my whole life all over again at the age of 25, 29 now. Just been working, doing underground, loving it. Been trying to get back into racing moto, but things have gotten more expensive now.
Yeah, as far as like parts and stuff like that, or what has gotten more expensive?
Pretty much everything. I know back then I was paying roughly $80 for 5 gallons of race fuel. Now it's $1.30 for 5 gallons now, and that's not even the top of line stuff. So I can only imagine parts getting more expensive. Dirt bikes are getting up to 10, 12 grand now.
Wow.
Back when I was racing, you can go buy a brand new bike for $8 grand.
Yeah,
which that's still kind of expensive, but
like a good one, right?
Yeah,
not like a starter, but like something you actually want to get, put it through the ringer, right?
Well, the thing is, they have bikes that you can either ride on the street, trail ride, and then you just buy the bikes off the showroom floor and you can take it to the track. Just pretty much just get off the out of the showroom and just go after it. And that's what I was doing, and had some sponsors, and I definitely miss it.
Yeah. So as far as what kind of bike you're looking for, like I'm not too familiar with bike sizes, but I remember a friend of mine was letting me practice on his street bike. Is like a 250cc, and I think I'm too big for that one, but he still let me use it a little bit behind the Walmart parking lot. So what kind of bikes are you looking for, or that you like the most? Like, educate me, you know?
So there's different bikes for ones that are starting out now. Starting now, this probably 5 years ago, they just started coming out with Stasics, which are little bicycle for kids with no pedals, so you can
The push ones, right?
Yeah. So that's cool that they brought that into the sport to get these little ones out there and starting. I mean, some of these kids are doing it at 2-3 years old, riding these little things, and after that, then they start getting these little electric 50s, and then they start getting into 65s, 85s, and then after that, you get into the bigger bikes, the 250 and 450s, and which the 450 is what I raced, only because 250s they're more maintenance, because you have to rebuild the motors every 25 hours normally. And usually you have two bikes normally, so you have a race bike or practice bike, and doing the top ends, costs a couple grand easily.
Yeah.
Just doing it. And you have the bottom ends, and the basic maintenance is cost effective, and suspension on there too. And the very end of my dad living during COVID, I started pulling full force into my program with a trainer full time, and a meal prep guy, gym trainer, and finally, started connecting with all that, with the nutrition, and just the riding only on weekends, and then trying to work half days or after work, try to go to the track, which my local track was Glen Helen, and all the factory guys would be there on a Thursday. So I'd try to get off work as soon as possible and just go out there and try to hang with those guys and just see if I can put my name out there. And at the end of it, I was getting my name out there, and stuff happened. So
Yeah.
It brought me up here, and Paso's a beautiful town, met some amazing people. So glad to be up here.
Is there a motocross community up here? I know there's the dunes, but usually they have buggies out there.
I don't know too much about Paso, but I know there is. There's a lot of racers that are from the area. I know that what I've been told, there is used to be a lot riding, and now it's kind of prohibited, I guess is the right term.
Yeah.
You have to know the right people that have tracks in their backyard.
No.
Far as I know.
So you're saying you miss it. What will your next steps be if you want to go back into that world?
So the next steps, so I do work full time. I do go to the gym at least 3 days a week. Eating pretty clean during the week. So I'm staying on top of that. The next steps is I have a race bike still. I got into financial problems a couple years ago, so I crashed actually in Bakersfield, a track called KCRP. They do have a circle track for like dirt racing or something like that. Went out there, was off the bike for a year and a half, 2 years. Mindset was still like, hey, you can still do this and just get back on the bike with no training and dieting and all that, and end up crashing and breaking my ankle. And I end up getting back on the bike and finishing the motos to at least make my money back.
Yeah.
So that was a positive. And I actually went back out almost 2 years ago. It'll be 2 years in September. I rode at Paris, California, which is by Hemet, a little bit outside Riverside, California. Ended up just riding with my mechanic's daughter, and the timing chain popped off and blew a hole in the valve cover. So just got to get that fixed, and been trying to get my name out there and meet the right people and see if there's anyone out there that would want to help and support someone that wants to go after their dreams.
So do you have, so how do you get people, like, let's say I'm guessing you're trying to find sponsors and stuff like that. How do you reach out to them? How do you convince them? What do you show them to be like, hey, you want to be my sponsor? How does that conversation even start?
So since I've been here, I've learned a lot. A lot of people think, hey, just if you give me money, I can go after my dreams, but it doesn't work that way. It's a two-way street. So I have a truck, I have a dirt bike, you have gear. So there's a lot of different ways that you can put their name and logo and brand out there.
Yeah.
Helmet wrapping, there's graphics for your bike and putting their logo on your gear, even decals on the truck or whatever. And I know there's a lot of people out there that I haven't met that would love to do that and get their name out there even more. I even thought about hitting up some wineries and, there's a lot of people after practice and race days. There's people out there that want to drink some wine and have a kickback. So, set up an easy up and with their name and put some wine out there and tell them about their product, while you're in between motos or, practice days. You have all the rest of the day pretty much from probably after 2:00 till 9:00. You have all that time to, tell people about the companies that are helping you out and their social media. That is a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, social media has opened the doors for everybody. Like, there's no excuse not to promote yourself in a way. That's why I looked at your social, obviously, because, you reached out and I was like, okay, he said he does dirt bikes and he wants to tell a story. So what's your goal here today while on the podcast? Are you trying to tell people like, hey, check out my stuff? And do you have stuff that people can check out online?
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I want to come on was to promote myself, put my name out there, to see if there's anyone out there that wants to help someone to go after their dreams and promote their product or whatever you guys got out there. Social media is a big thing for putting people's products and names out there and stuff like that. But, these younger generations, everyone's on their phone, so...
I mean, yeah, that's where everybody's looking at right now. Like I've come across people who are like, "Oh, I saw you interview this person, or I saw you talk to that person." I'm like, it's a small town, man. So it's interesting to see the dynamic of what would happen if you were on the podcast, right? And I think that's kind of what you're aiming for here. Is like, who's gonna see me? Who's gonna hear my story? And I know there's more to your experience, and if you're open to it, like we can talk about it. But so. One, you said you do underground work. Talk a little bit about that, and then we can talk about why the hiatus of motocross.
So, from being the high desert, I did tree work, and I moved up here. So I had to find something that I wanted to enjoy besides moto, and I actually worked for a company and got into it and enjoyed it. So I've been doing it for 4 years now. And loved being around heavy equipment. So, it was a life-changing, I want to say. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of things that I've been able to do now with doing this type of work. It's a whole learning experience, and it's awesome. I met some great people that I work with and learning a lot of things in life.
Yeah. Yeah, so what exactly do you do underground? Like, I know you said heavy lifting or heavy machinery. And when you say heavy machinery, I'm like, of course he wants heavy machinery because he handles a heavy machinery between his legs, man. Yeah. So like, what exactly do you do with those heavy machineries?
So I just got, being a heavy equipment operator. I started as a labor and we have, there's backhoes, there's excavators, there's skip and drags, there's loaders, there's excavators, there, skid steers, you name it. There's cranes, there's all this stuff. So just seeing all this stuff and seeing how the world's built and streets are built, it just something that caught my attention and I like doing. So it pretty much what I'm doing right now is underground. So we put pipe in the ground so it could be your water main, sewer. We also do dry utilities, so it'd be a lot of stuff for like AT&T, fiber optics. Yeah. So that's how you get your, your sewer, your water to your house. So yeah.
Yeah, from my understanding, PG&E is now doing underground stuff instead of overhead. Is that some people you run across with? What your work is doing is burying their pipes?
Yeah, most definitely. I guess back in the day, everything's all overhead, and now they're starting to go all underground now. So I guess it's a safety thing, I would assume.
Yeah, it's something about like starting fires.
Yeah.
It was starting fires, and they got in trouble for that. And then I saw a commercial on TV, and it was like, "We're doing the right thing" and stuff like that. Like, and me and my wife are both staring at the commercial. We're like, "Cause they're making you." It's like,
Yeah.
which is really funny. So let's talk about your story here, because I want people to get to know you.
Yeah.
So you mentioned your dad passed away, and I think we connected there because my dad passed away in 2017 as well. Talk about what happened, how'd you deal with it, and it's I think about him every day too, so I can only imagine you.
Yeah, most definitely. There's not one day that doesn't go through not thinking about him. One thing, and I don't want to think of it's a sad story to, feel sad for me. It's more of a motivation to be positive about, because I've learned a lot. The world keeps going, bills keep coming.
Yeah.
The world kicks your butt, and you got to keep getting up and keep doing it. So yeah. What was it? March 4th, 2021, he passed away. So after he passed away, I want to say a week or two after, I went and, from racing and going to the gym, working and traveling all the time, never really had time to really think about it.
Mm-hmm.
So after he passed, my mom actually came in, pulled me to the side, and she said, "Hey, I just want to let you know that I wasn't your biological father." And it kind of like, I kind of knew, but being so busy, like, it sucks. But he was my dad. You can't someone that's not blood. You don't have to be blood to be family.
Yeah.
And especially, having family that are blood related. I've had friends that are not blooded and be more brothers and sisters more than anything. So yeah, 2021 was a life-changing moment for me, and wasn't sure what was I going to do. So my mom, we reached out, we started talking, and she met us in an RV park here in Paso. So it's a Paso RV ranch. Her name's Tina. So there's probably a lot of people out there that...
that name sounds so familiar. Is that off of 46?
Yeah, that's the one that's right next to Brown Cycle. That's on the left-hand side on the hill.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I feel like, what was it? I had when I worked at Park Cinemas, I had a former employee, Raven, who I think worked there. I don't know if you met any of her employees.
I don't think so. She's been managing it for 12, 13 years or so.
Yeah.
But yeah, she, her husband was in the oil field. So,
okay.
He was traveling for work, and they ended up working out in San Ardo, and, he retired, and they ended up staying out here. So,
yeah.
It's a blessing being out here. So, back to the story.
Yeah.
When my dad passed, all that stuff happened. Ended up coming out here, being with my mom, only seen her like once a year, just because I was going after my dream. So I had to sacrifice all that family time.
Yeah.
So, had some amazing sponsors and, a lot of support, which, you need that. And, after, I never had no girlfriends in high school. I just focused on a dream. And, so I moved up here and been wanting it more and more being up here. So it's just a long life goal of mine to race Supercross. It's not about the money. It's more like when I was younger, going to the pits and taking pictures with all the factory riders and stuff like that. It was more of seeing the smile on these little kids and the parents being happy. Mm-hmm. That's the really main reason why I want to do it, is to race Supercross. And they always race the first Saturday or the second Saturday in January. It's called A1, Anaheim 1.
Okay.
It's that Angel Stadium. So usually Supercross, all the baseball, football fields, they all come into indoors and race there. So yeah, that's a long-term goal of mine, is to go out there, and there's a lot of privateers that are, funding by themselves or trying to get their names out there. So yeah, it's just a big money thing to get into it, but it's just something that I really want to do, and that's where my heart's at. So I don't ever want to give up.
So what changed? I know you paused for a while as far as doing motocross after your dad passed away. What changed now to make you go? I know you miss it for sure. I can tell you miss it. But what changed for you to make that decision, that active decision of, oh, I'm going to go put myself on a podcast and see if I can find anybody?
You know, I'm a person. I love talking to people and meeting new people. So I think that's one of the things. It was to come out here and meeting you, because you never know who you get to meet. You know, sometimes things happen for the right reason. I thought I'd come out here to obviously put my name out there to see if there's any businesses out there that want to hop on board and help me go after the dream and get your name and maybe help you guys out, because that's the whole object, is to get that company more business and more sales. It's a two-way street.
Yeah.
That was part of it, but I've been actually wanting to do my own podcast, actually.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. Everybody always says that they want to do their own podcast because you have a lot to talk about. You have an experience. You probably have one or two buddies that you're always talking to. Like, oh my God, we should be recording this. We should be posting it. We'd be famous. You know, little thoughts like that. Yeah,
there's, a lot of people are doing it now. I thought about doing like a men's mental awareness podcast. It talks about more about how we always hide our feelings and don't tell people what's really going on behind doors. There's a lot of things to talk about in this world, and you never know, posting content, and you can do really well with it.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things from what you were doing with motocross is you kept yourself busy. You even said after your dad passed away, even a couple weeks out, you kept yourself busy. It probably numbed it a little bit, right? And that's just one thing. Like being busy, keeping yourself busy. It's you always got to make sure you slow down and check out what you're doing. Check on yourself, check on your family, smell the roses, so to speak. And I think being in Paso, I feel, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, has let you do that. It has let you put things in perspective, and now you're acting on your feelings, which is get back in the game.
Yeah, most definitely. When you're go all the time, especially with racing or being a business owner, you're always on the go. So everyone knows what that's like. Being up here and being close to the beach. Being within 30 minutes of going to the beach. And I actually just got a golden retriever about 1.5 years ago, almost 2 years. That was a blessing. So usually, summertime I take them to the beach every weekend. So to do that, it really opens my eyes and seeing how beautiful this place is and how life is, and relaxing and seeing, I just been admiring the smaller things on life now instead of the bigger things.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I completely agree. You gotta admire everything. The small little things. It's the only way I can keep saying is smell the roses, right? So when you're trying to, this is me just trying to learn about motocross and sponsorships and stuff like that. Maybe you'll convince somebody to talk to you, right? When you're looking for sponsors, like what do you tell them, like? Because obviously you go to a vineyard, and I don't think it's in the front of their mind, like, hey, I want to go sponsor a motocross kid, So what how do you go in that? How do you prepare yourself mentally to be like, I'm going to go into this winery and be like, hey, I do motocross?
That's tough. That's what when I get home from work, I sit there and how do you go and talk to the person and say the right things? I think it's just you being you and getting that friendship. I go to some local spots and met some amazing people, and there's sometimes I thought about, hey, just shake their hand and talk to them and just be straight up front with it. But I think it's more if you build that relationship and that connection, and you can tell them and understand exactly what your goals are. I think that would be the proper way to go at it, is to just go and just have that good relationship with that person and have that connection. I think that's probably the right way to do it. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but
I mean, yeah, that's the easiest way. Speaking of sponsorship, and I got to mention it only because you're drinking a water bottle. One of our sponsors is a water quality person. Her name is Jenny Hill. She's from the White Wave Wellness. So you can take that bottle and enjoy the water.
Sweet.
It's the easiest way I can put it is that specific water, your body's going to absorb 80% of it. It replenishes you. Because bottle of water, I mean, has been proven only 20-ish% gets absorbed and the rest of it just gets used. Because it's been heated and cooled so much, it kills everything to the point where they have to actually add minerals and nutrients. And you're just like, okay, so take, check it. You can keep that bottle and stuff. She's going to get mad at me that I let you drink from a regular bottle of water.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
But the whole sponsorship, yeah, you're right. It's a conversation. And there's when I started the show, I didn't have any sponsors. It was all just me just trying it out, right? And to the point where I got to the point where like, okay, I need to pay some bills. So I'm gonna go ask. And I did obviously people who I know first, and then I went from there. So, Jenny, I met her, I asked her, she offered, we kind of collaborated there. I have Nate Santos from Santos Plumbing. He's a cool dude, somebody you should talk to.
Yeah.
I think you guys will gel really well. Western Janitor from downtown. I used to work at Park Cinema, so I know them because I was neighbors with them. And then Red Scooter Deli, same thing. I was neighbors with them too. So like it felt natural to ask and almost not embarrassed, but I kind of felt like a little shy to ask. But it starts with the conversation, And start the conversation, man.
Yeah, so I appreciate it. Yeah, I'll check the water out. I know I looked at your Instagram and I actually heard about your podcast from having the owner of Sheepheads Outfitters. That's how I heard
Tim,
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I went in there, been in there a couple of times and checked it out. Seen it, and that's how I reached out to you. And I've actually had a water sponsor before.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was Alkaline Water. They were out of Wisconsin. And then my mom, she rides horses, so she got hooked up, and then I don't know what's going on, but the water shipment's been like at a standstill. So I've been reaching out for more water sponsors. It's a big thing to, I've been supporting being here in probably the past year. I've been going to local coffee shops and not going to your Starbucks going to local food family things. I've been all local, going to the farmers market here in Paso Saturday mornings. It's pretty rad.
Yeah, no, it's been a while since I've gone to that, and I feel like it's growing again to where it's a fun time because the farmers market in San Luis Obispo, it looks like a freaking festival.
Yeah, I've been there a couple times. I've had a buddy invite me out there, not knowing, what's downtown slow.
Yeah.
And seeing that's a big party town over there, especially Thursday, Friday, Saturday after 9 o'clock, but, I am 29. So, usually people that race motocross, they turn pro at 16, 17 years old, and they usually retire around my age. But recently these guys are, coming back and staying longer. So that gives me more of a drive to want to stay in it and keep doing it.
Is there a team that you can join, or is that normal? Kind of like because I've seen like bicyclists, and you see them all kind of wearing a uniform, like racing, like riding together, but at the same time they're competing. It's like the weirdest concept to me, but it's like is that normal? Like how many people race in a single race? Like how many people lap, whatever you want to call it?
So there is teams. There's factory teams. There's actually the factory beta team that's out of Paso. So there's usually about 2 to 3 guys on a 250 team. Probably 2 guys on a 450 team. It all depends on the team's financials on how many guys they can have and afford. There's so you have say 2 to 4 guys on a 250 team. You're all teammates. For Supercross, there's 20 riders or 22, I think. And then outdoors, there's a full gate of 40 riders. Yeah, imagine 40 guys on a gate on a start straight coming into a left-hand or right-hand corner. And there's a lot of big crashes. Speaking of crashes, I've had some gnarly ones. There's some that I should have definitely been dead.
Oh, really?
but God has kept me alive, and so my body is hurting, but it's still a lot better shape than a lot of these kids that are, probably 24 years old that are aching and are ready for retirement.
Yeah, because if you came over here, 5 years ago?
4 years ago.
4 years ago, you would have been 25.
Yeah,
and that's
24,
when
25.
when you stopped?
Yeah, closely. Usually 20 from 27 to 30 is usually people quit. Some guys usually quit at 34. That's usually, you're pro at 16 and you're racing nonstop from January to actually the final round of Supercross is this weekend. So whatever this weekend of is in May, and then you probably have a week off, and then you start doing outdoors, and outdoors is pretty brutal on your body. And usually have a couple months off, but then you got to get back into testing because there's a lot of stuff on these bikes that you have to test and get that. And, brand new bikes come out every year. So they change. So you have to get the bike perfect for the way that you ride and all that stuff and the way you want it. So when it comes to January, you're that guy to beat.
Yeah. So only because I'm a silly questionnaire, right? When I see movies about like motocross and stuff like that, like how much have you ever seen movies like motocross and you're like, there's no way they could have done that?
Yeah, there's movies out there that don't add up. That are, you see these people that are doing all this stuff. I'm like, it's cool. Yeah. But it's definitely not like the real thing. Yeah. And I've been trying to invest in myself and doing a podcast. I actually, if you look at my social media, pretty much is all videos of edits of racing or some just iPhone, just taking pictures and just putting some music behind it. Yeah. So yeah, it's a fun sport. It's addictive. It's a money pit. I love it. That's my thing. I like to tell people that's the only thing I'm good at. Yeah. So I've had some amazing sponsors, and they're still backing me and being off the bike. There's not as well as send me free stuff. Clothing
like
wise.
reference and stuff like that.
Yeah. So like I'll name some stuff like 100%. I've met one of the guys that was been there for over 10 years. I want to say. They've been helping me out since 2014. So they do my goggles and sunglasses. And they do stuff for, the road bikers, mountain bikers, snowboarders. So, yeah, it was at that point to right on the end of the end of my career, we can say. I was getting looked at by some teams, but one team actually moved up to Florida. So, because SoCal is the heart of moto. So what happens is, you can have your kid, you can go buy him a bike off the floor, say you go buy a bike off the showroom floor and go to the track. And during the week, on a Tuesday, you go to Fox Raceway down in Paula, California. And pros are out there training and getting ready for outdoors. Oh. And, these guys are hauling the mail and you're in their way. And so they don't want that, so they go to a training facility, whether it's in, Carolina or Florida. So that's what these guys do. And they'll just come to SoCal for their couple weeks while, the races are here. And then they just go back up there. So, yeah, that's that. If you're not a factory rider when you're on 50 cc's or 65s and not picked up by a team, it's kind of hard. You have to literally, the best thing that I thought about is really get off work or take the day off and go out to these tracks that they're going to be at when it's pro day. Because these tracks, they have days that they're going to be there. Yeah. So I would go to Glen Helen on a Thursday, knowing that they're going to be there. When that track's going to be rough, and the time I get off work, it's already 2-3 o'clock, and summertime they'll close at dusk. 6-7 o'clock they'll close. Yeah. So I'll drive an hour down there and train, and try to ride with these guys while they're still out there putting the motos in. And someone that like me is only riding on the weekends or racing, and doesn't get no time during the week. And I was getting looked at and getting ready to, my eyes are right there. So that's one of the things that keeps me motivated is that I had that chance. Because I don't want to get older and regret not taking initiative about doing it.
Yeah, of course.
If one day if I have kids, I don't want to look like like I gave up on my dreams. And, I want to say, hey, your dad did it. He went after it and tried. So at least you can do it and do it too.
Yeah, no, that's a big thing. And that's a big part of the reason why I'm doing this podcast thing. I mean, I had a job at Park Cinemas, and I just put so many hours there. I told myself, like, I got to do something for myself. And that's what kind of inspired the decision to leave Park Cinemas and go here. Because that way, one day I can tell my kids, like, look, things will work out. Like, money will come. You'll always figure things out. It's you don't focus on the things that like you can't control. Focus on the things that you can. And one of those is how happy you make yourself. And that is, in your case, motocross.
Yeah. And that's one thing, you know what? I've been speaking to someone that used to come from the moto scene. Mm-hmm. He actually called me late at night, let's say 10 o'clock at night, 2 weeks ago. And he's like, wondering what's going on, dude? So I actually told him, and he goes, it sounds like I'm a believer in God. So he reached out and just says, it sounds like you're trying to push so hard and thinking that you're going to do it. You got to let God just do it. And I think that's one of the things, and just let it happen, just like if you're struggling with bills, things happen. I've struggled before and figure out, hey, I'm not going to pay this next bill, but then, so, you might have something on sale from Marketplace. Like I've had some from Marketplace, and all I needed some extra money to get to work and sell something, and it got me by. Or, I've had to sell some dirt bike boots, $200, $400 or $500. But did I want to do that? No. But I had to sacrifice to pay that bill to know that I'm going to have it the next month. So it's definitely has gotten me by, and I'm just letting God let him take the wheels on this one.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's a lot of things that to me it just makes sense as far as like working hard, and obviously if it's not working out, try to step back and figure out like how to pivot, right? Talk to the 5 closest people that you know, and it's like, hey, what do you guys see I do best? Because they're the ones who view you and object, who not, they don't objectify you. I was gonna say they have a better idea of what your true calling is, because you're your worst critic, Mm-hmm. So when you tell people like what I do, and that was one of the things they told me, is like, you like to talk to people, you like to talk to people. And back 5 years ago, 6 years ago, well, no, that's longer than that. Let's say 10 years ago, I didn't know how to do that, because social media was around, but like I didn't have like the courage to like put myself on camera like that. And then until I started diving into podcasting, then I'm like, all right. I started with sound. I'm like, okay, I don't like the sound of my voice, but now I'm like, okay, now I'm okay with it. Let's push it. Let's push more. Like now there's video. Okay, now it's video. Now let's start inviting people I know. Now I'll start inviting people I don't know. And then what's next? And that's how you build that momentum. And for you, I think the decision to get back into it. That's the first step. And the next thing is to put yourself out there like you're doing now. And I think one of the challenges I would give you is put yourself in front of the camera and start talking like you're talking to me, because I think that's going to be a game changer for you.
Yeah, most definitely. I've had a lot of confidence in myself, 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. There's a big change with that. I don't really care what people think on my presence, but at the same time, for the certain people, you kind of have to, I guess. I would say a certain even spot about it. I'm like, is that how I really sound like on video? And it's like, is that what my voice sounds like? But you know what? We're all different. We're all human. And, it's one thing is, since COVID, everyone's struggling and bashing on people. I think, I thought about starting a TikTok page, and, if I had the money and could apply for a credit card and, say $500 on a credit card and help homeless or someone that's struggling, just put that content out there. It's not for the money.
Yeah.
It's more of showing more to be positive and help others out.
Yeah.
You know, and that's one thing that I just like shopping at your local store.
Yeah.
You know, coffee shop.
Shop small. Yeah.
Exactly. You know, the only time I really eat fast food is when it's after 9 o'clock and you got to eat, and the only thing that's open is fast food. Yeah. But yeah, it's nice being out here, meeting great people. You know, there's a couple spots I go to, just like Sheephead Outfitters.
Yeah.
You know, that guy's amazing over there just to chit chat.
Yeah.
You know, if it wasn't for meeting him and following him on social media, I would never met you. So that's the whole thing of social media, you know, and just reaching out. And that's one thing I thing out to people is just be you, just accept it. And, you know, there's a lot of people out there that do well, and just be them, accept it. And if you do that, you'll be fine.
Yeah, little victories here and there, and just keep connected to the people that are doing the similar things to you. Unfortunately, try to ignore the bad people, try to push them out, because those are just infections that you don't want in your life, kind of thing. It's sad because sometimes it is family. Sometimes it's people who you've known for a long time and you've never really realized how, you know, negative they are. And so, you know, you go through those motions. But let's wrap things up. But what's the big message you want to tell people today?
My big message is just be who you are, and just be you. And just don't let out. One thing I've learned right now is surround yourself with people where you want to be in life. You know, I have family that are okay with their life. I'm not. I want to be better in life. I want to, you know, one thing I've learned is, you know, people think money is all evil, but if you have a lot of money and you have family that are hurting, or if they're sick, let's say cancer, right? Yeah. That money will make you smile, because it'll make you happy, because it'll give you the best doctors there are. And that's one thing I've learned is that's one whole purpose about life, is to make this money so you can live that life and help your family out, friends out. Just surround yourself with people where you want to be in life, and just be positive. Don't take anything negative. And that's one thing with my dad passing away. I don't, you know, it's a sad story, but don't let it get to you. And, you know, people say it gets easier, but, you know, that's when you're alone, that's when it gets hard.
Yeah.
Just surround yourself with great people. And I think that's about it.
And where can people find you and follow your journey? And YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, like, call it all out.
So I do have a YouTube. Not too sure what the YouTube channel name is.
Well, they can look up your name, right?
But yeah, it probably could be Tristian Higgins, 411. Facebook's Tristian Higgins. Instagram is the _real 411. I would put my TikTok out there, but it actually got hacked a couple weeks ago. So I had to start a new one and start fresh. So I think that was a blessing on that one. Yeah. So yeah, I appreciate you having me on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you for coming, man. I'm glad we met, and we'll stay in touch, and we'll keep an eye on your journey, and even come back if things start rolling. Bring us if you find a sponsor, bring them here, and we can promote them too. Most definitely, I appreciate it, and hopefully bring more people in. And you know, there's a good spot if you guys ever like to. I like to call out for Doug, the owner of Iron Oaks. I don't know if you've ever been, but I've never been. So on 13th Street, so you know where Blast Brew is. Downtown Paso. Yeah. So that whole section, there's like Cali Paso. And so I actually go get my hair cut at New Era Barber. Thanks to Kyle. So right next to like neighborhood, I want to say, so you can go get your acai bowls. So in between there and New Era, there's a place called Iron Oaks. So I think he's closed Monday and Tuesdays. Could be wrong. But Thursday through Sunday, is a cool spot if you guys need a new place to go eat at and check out and drink some wine and have a good time. It's called Iron Oaks. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday they do. His buddy Austin does pizzas. So they're really awesome, and it's a good atmosphere to be around. It's kid and dog friendly. It's a little tack room, so just a cool atmosphere. He does his own beer and wine. Sweet. So yeah, and then you have that little coffee shop on 13th Street. A little shack that's right there. New owner. Yeah. So the guy's Nick. So I go there on Saturday and Sunday mornings, get my coffee. Hey, man, bring them on. We'll get together. Like,
Oh,
like I
man.
said, this can be, I mean, we can talk, you bring whoever you want.
Yeah.
And bring potential sponsors.
Yeah.
We'll chat it up, man.
Yeah, if there's anyone out there that wants to help someone get out there and go racing and put your name out there and product, or even want to put your product, I'll put it on social media out there. I have no problem. Even if it's not paying me and just want to put your product out there, I'll post it. Not a problem.
There you go. There you have it. It's Tristan. Thank you so much, man.
No problem. Thank you.